Hello and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. I'm Haxi Myers-Belkin and this is Eye on Africa. The headlines. Muslim women in Tunisia are now allowed to marry men of a different faith after the government lifts a ban on interreligious marriage that had applied only to women. We'll be hearing from our correspondent in Tunis. Chanting "Stop the Massacre," Senegalese demonstrators gather in Dakar in solidarity with the Muslim Rohingya community suffering persecution at the hands of Burmese security forces. And we travel to Kano state in northern Nigeria to see how traditional Hausa marriage practices are returning as the threat posed by Islamist insurgents subsides. Hi again, thank you very much for tuning in. Before getting to the day's headlines, we begin with the news that at least 33 people have been killed after an overloaded boat capsized in northwest Nigeria. 23 people are still unaccounted for. The vessel had been carrying traders from southern Niger. It's a busy route with people regularly travelling between the two countries to buy and sell goods. Nigeria's National Emergency Management Agency has said that the boat had a maximum capacity of 70 passengers, but that survivors believed some 150 people had been on board before disaster struck. Now to a legal landmark for women's rights in Tunisia. A ban on Muslim women marrying non-Muslim men dating from 1973 has been overturned 1 month after the country's president insisted it was time for women to be free to choose their spouse. The move won't immediately abolish the pressure many families put on their children to marry fellow Muslims, but it does confirm Tunisia's place as one of the Arab world's most proactive country on the subject of women's rights. Our correspondent Sandro Luchens has been gauging reaction on the streets of Tunis.
For over 50 years, a non-Muslim man who wanted to marry a Tunisian Muslim woman would first have to convert to Islam. To do so, the ban of interfaith marriage had been set in order, I quote, to protect the purity of the family, because in Islam, religion is inherited from the father, which means that a child born from a non-Muslim father would not automatically be considered a Muslim. This also means that the Tunisian men, they could actually marry whoever they want, regardless of their faith. So this actually marks an important step forward for gender equality in Tunisia, but not everybody agrees on that.
We are a Muslim country. Our language is Arabic. We are not allowed to marry a non-Muslim. That's how it is. Those women who will are non-believers. That's it. Now, with this new law, they can do what they want. But to Islam and to me, she's not a Muslim anymore.
I'm really happy with the abrogation of this ban. It's a new victory after the law against violence on women. It's the second victory this year.
It makes me feel that I'm going to get married soon. We shouldn't forget about love, because this is the most important factor here. And we're not going to stop love as usual with laws or unfavorable political decisions. So we really need to keep on fighting.
The next step might be a reform on inheritance laws in Tunisia. In accordance with the Quran, the woman inherits only half of what the man gets. A commission has actually already started working on the reform.
Hundreds of people have gathered in the Senegalese capital Dakar to denounce the persecution of the Muslim Rohingya minority in Burma, just 1 day after the UN Secretary-General said that the group was facing a catastrophic humanitarian situation. The demonstration was jointly organised by Senegalese hip-hop artists and religious groups. They decry what they call the complicity of Burma's military and its de facto leader Aung San Suu Kyi in the Rohingya suffering. Let's take a listen.
It is not right that the international community, Western countries and Gulf heads of state should remain silent in the face of such persecution. More than 300,000 people have fled. It's about time the world took action to end this repression, these atrocities, the bloodshed. We've all seen the videos. We're all deeply affected by what's happening.
The Gulf of Guinea is one of the most dangerous shipping routes in the world for merchant vessels. Kidnappings for ransoms are on the rise, and pirates are becoming more violent in their tactics. In a bid to reverse the worrying trend, the French Navy, in conjunction with West African maritime agencies, set up African Nemo, an operation that trains Navy personnel to better deal with the threats they face. Its latest exercise has just taken place off the coast of Abidjan. France 24's team on board sent us this report.
Here at the Abidjan Naval Base, preparations are underway for a large operation off the Ivorian coast. Sailors on board the Secongo patrol boat are getting ready to assist a ship in real time. They're honing their response to potential threats to maritime safety in the Gulf of Guinea. Today, the danger comes from a hypothetical blaze on board a nearby ship.
There may be internal factors that cause this fire, external factors that come from a collision or an external action such as shots on a ship. After that, the pirates can set the ship on fire and leave the vessel.
Suddenly the alarm is triggered. It signals the start of the rescue exercise. They head out to sea to assist the burning boat, which for the purposes of this exercise is the Dixmude, a French military ship nearly 200 meters long. Once on board, the Ivorian sailors must equip themselves quickly to control the fire, a simulation in extreme conditions, all played out under the watchful gaze of the French military. We try to offer them the whole range of our experience, whether it is the takeover of a ship with pirates on board, or intervening on a boat that was attacked by pirates, but that was then released. A recent report examining the threat of piracy reports that armed attacks on vessels in West African waters nearly doubled in 2016. The Oceans Beyond Piracy project says it recorded 95 attacks in West Africa's Gulf of Guinea last year, up from 54 the previous year. Good reason for African Nemo to continue training up Marines across the continent. Next stop, Senegal.
For the latest report in our series on marriage practices across the continent, we head to Kano State in northern Nigeria to celebrate a Hausa wedding. Along with the Yoruba and the Igbo, the Hausa, made up mostly of Sunni Muslims, are a major ethnic group in the country. In recent years, Boko Haram's insurgency has singled out their wedding ceremonies for bloodshed. But as our correspondent Moise Gomis discovers, the situation is now improving.
These several hundred wedding guests are celebrating the marriage of Najatu and Kabiru. As guests shower them with banknotes, the couple takes to the floor for the first dance. They haven't officially or traditionally tied the knot yet, but Kabiru and Najatu decided to organise a party ahead of the big day. For now, in Kano, the threat of a terror attack has subsided.
I am seeing the return of peace in this town as the work of God. God brought peace here. Before, people were scared due to the Boko Haram attacks, but that belongs to the past now.
The day after the party, Najatu's sisters and cousins carefully inspect the wedding gifts, 5 suitcases filled to the brim, bought by Kabiru for his future bride. Another part of Kano, the men from both families meet at the mosque. The ceremony is brief, the imam recites a ritual prayer, and the bride's parents accept the dowry offered by Kabiru's family.
The richer point at which the dowry is accepted. As stipulated by the family, they will fix the price and the groom side will have to accept and offer. So when it is offered, and as already seen in the mosque where the wedding has taken place, the dowry is even paid. So they are already married.
At nightfall, Najatu's family escorts her to her new home. Her relatives have come to visit the fully furnished house. Kabiru has spent several €1,000 preparing for his wife's arrival. In the nuptial room, Najatu waits for her husband, a veil draped over her, and receives some last-minute advice.
Now, my daughter, we brought you sitting in your room. We thank God, and that's what we want. We pray for God to bring peace into your marriage. Now the wedding ceremony has concluded.
Incense is lit to create a blissful atmosphere. Najatu sheds a few silent tears, but she's ready to embark on this new chapter in her life.
Well, that's all for now, but if you stay tuned, Thomas Waterhouse will be back in just a couple of minutes with all the world news headlines.